tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Many controversial police shootings or violence begin as routine traffic stops. Philando Castile, Patrick Lyoya, George Floyd, and others.
Hey, see your hands.
Damn, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
But a new study says the first few words from an officer to a motorist can help predict whether a stop will escalate.
Simply in these escalated stops, the officers gives an order, a command, right? Put your hands up, get out of the car. But no reason explaining why the driver is stopped.
Dr. Eugenia Rowe found if the first 45 words from an officer to a black motorist are commands rather than a greeting or an explanation for the stop, it is much more likely the stop will escalate to handcuffing, vehicle search, or an arrest. The study examined body camera footage of 577 traffic stops and found 81 of them resulted in searches, handcuffing, or arrests.
We found no instances where the driver refused to comply with an officer's command or answer an officer's question. The majority of the driver's responses are answers or explanations to the officer's orders, questions, and there are no instances where the driver is not complying with the officer in every single one of the escalated stops that we examine.
The onus is always on the police officer, the trained professional.
Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey is a 20-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, and she says the officer's behavior has an immense impact on the outcome of a stop.
Something as simple as an explanation can avoid all sorts of other problems, because at the end of the day, the goal is for everyone to go home safely, the police officer as well as the citizen. And then when an officer just starts barking out orders, well, now you run the risk of having now the citizen become elevated in their response.
In some jurisdictions across the country, city leaders and police departments are cutting out minor traffic stops completely. Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, and several other cities are experimenting with banning minor traffic stops, arguing they overwhelmingly impact black motorists, aren't especially helpful in stopping crime, and can have fatal consequences. Sergeant Dorsey says while she agrees black people are often mistreated by police, she does not believe this is the answer.
Well, that sounds sexy until you have a civilian who pulls over somebody with an expired tab who happens to be a serial killer or somebody who's wanted for robbing a bank. Now you have the civilian dealing with this armed and dangerous individual, because again, traffic stops are the most dangerous interactions a police officer can have.
The study also documented bias in who was pulled over and what the outcome was for those stops.
97.8% of the drivers who experienced one of the three escalated outcomes were Black, which is why we limit our study to Black drivers.
Rose said while she wanted to include white motorists in this study, she couldn't because it happened so infrequently in comparison to black drivers.
Now, another data point from the study was the sort of informal education that black motorists seem to have in this area already. The researcher played several traffic stop interactions for black survey respondents and essentially found that when those interactions started with orders rather than reasons, those black male respondents predicted 84% of the time that there would be an escalation in that traffic stop, sort of showing the pessimistic view that many black motorists already have about these kinds of interactions.